Hello, members of the Literati. Here we are again, and this is just a little video to show you what I'm up to in our little world of golf history research. Now, most of you will have seen the latest issue of Through the Green and my article on the flagstick. I have to tell you that a lot of difficulty writing that up. There's so many convolutions in a very complicated rule as it goes from one decade to the other that I find it difficult, and partly this is age, declining powers of concentration, and numerous keystroke errors that have to be corrected. So I don't think I'll do any more in that series, and if anyone else wants to take up the baton and do it in their own style, of course, that would be good, because it's an interesting topic, just how the rules of golf have evolved over the years. There is another reason. I'm thinking of getting involved in a completely different area of research. It would be a cooperative effort, and it would be important in terms of Australian golf history. Now, you will recall that in earlier issues of TTG, I wrote articles on the 1907 and 1912 Australian Open. At these Opens, there were rules incidents, and decisions on those incidents had to be made, and those decisions were full of controversy. Now, I decided to rewrite those articles for a completely different audience, and I chose Sporting Traditions. That is an academic journal published by the Australian Society for Sports History, of which I am a member. Now, these are different in some ways. The 1907 Open was not very different from what appeared in TTG. It was just written in a different style for a very different audience, many of whom were sports historians, but not necessarily golf historians. The 1912 Open was really quite different, because when I wrote the article for TTG, I had no access to the archives of the Australian Golf Union, who organised that event and provided the match committee. For Sporting Traditions, I had access to the AGU minutes, and that made a great difference. Some of the flaws that I had already found in the appeal to the R&A, Rules of Golf Committee, and they appeared, and also in the response the Rules of Golf Committee made, these also were found by the Australian Golf Union, and some more besides. So they make interesting reading. Now, I did prepare a little booklet which consisted of the two Sporting Traditions articles with permission of Sporting Traditions, and some additional appendices, and as long as they were not used for commercial purposes, it was fine to send them to some of our members, and some of you will have received that booklet. Now, I have quite recently given a lecture on the 1907 Australian Open at Royal Melbourne. Now, Royal Melbourne were very interested in this, and I had a good audience, and they were very interested because in 1907 it was Royal Melbourne who not only hosted the event, but organised the event and provided the match committee. In that lecture, I included something that did not appear in my booklet. It was an afterthought, and it was a hypothetical submission to the Rules of Golf Committee, which Royal Melbourne most certainly did not submit. But that submission, I believe, would have made it well nigh impossible for the Rules of Golf Committee, saying that all the players who were misled enough to play to the side of the teeing area should be disqualified. I don't think they could readily have applied that should have been disqualified decision. This hypothetical submission appears in the e-copy of as an appendix to the booklet I already sent to some members. So if you want to get the e-copy, just send me an email, please. The hypothetical submission is very carefully constructed. It doesn't go into the ins and outs of how the players were smooth-fed. It had to be not too humble, but not too aggressive, because essentially it was telling the Rules of Golf Committee, chaps, get your act together. If we take that rule literally, it's impossible to run a competition. So, you might be interested. Send me an email if you are. Now that's about all I have to say. I hope the rest of the meeting goes well, and as they say in the modern world, have a nice day. Thank you.